Angry guy here, and men are refusing to work with women. Men are refusing to work with women. Let's just go ahead and jump right into the video.
Fast and Furious star Vin Diesel denies he forced himself on a former assistant years ago in a hotel room. She made the allegation in a lawsuit that comes as an old interview with the actor has resurfaced. Jim Murray reports that interview is being called creepy and cringeworthy.
Outlandish. That's what action star Vin Diesel is saying about a former assistant accusing him of sexual battery.
In a lawsuit, Asta Jonasson claims Diesel forced himself onto her at the St. Regis Hotel in Atlanta while filming The Fast and the Furious 5 in 2010. Hours later, she says, she was fired.
Today, Diesel is hitting back. Let me be very clear. Vin Diesel categorically denies this claim in its entirety. This is the first he has ever heard about this more than 13-year-old claim made by a purportedly 9-day employee. There is clear evidence which completely refutes these outlandish allegations, the action star's attorney said in a statement. Now, a resurfaced video in which Diesel flirts with a reporter is going viral, being called creepy and cringeworthy.
God, you're so beautiful. God, she's so beautiful, man. Am I right or wrong? Look at her. How am I supposed to do this interview? Look at this woman.
She tries to get back on track, but Diesel keeps going.
Tell me your story. Tell me yours. Let's get out of here. Let's go. Let's go have lunch. My God, I love her. Look how beautiful she is.
Thank you.
God, wow. Man.
So, Tom Hanks?
Wow.
The interview, taped 7 years ago, now has almost 6 million views.
Guys, really? Look how beautiful she is. You guys think it's a joke. How am I supposed to sit over here when I'm looking at such beauty?
Back in 2017, Diesel apologized for that interview. He said he was just trying to be playful and funny.
I mean, guys, look at this now. It's pretty crazy how we can look at what's happened to Vin, and this person, instead of going to the police immediately after this occurred, 13 years ago, they said nothing. This is a person who worked there for 9 days. Now they're going after Vin because in an interview, he saw a woman who was very beautiful and he just kept complimenting her. And at that point, he was one of the most famous actors in Hollywood. Huge actor. And guys, this is what you get for simping. These are the consequences for simping, guys. It doesn't matter how famous you are. It doesn't matter who you are. This is what you get for simping. He was there simping. He was simping for her. This is why you are told, do not praise them. Do not compliment them. Don't do any of this because you will be punished for it. This is the level of narcissism that we live in today, where if a man pays a woman a compliment, it can have serious ramifications. Men have to now act indifferent towards women. And women don't realize that indifference is truly a terrible thing. The opposite of love, there are many different opposites you can talk about, but it's definitely not hate. Love and hate are just different sides of the same coin. They are not opposite. They are not opposite. They are different sides of the same coin. This is the reason why there's a thin line between love and hate, because they really overlap with one another. People love to hate and hate to love. And there's a lot of hate in love and love in hate. There's a mixture of the two. They go together like bread and butter, love and hate. This is the reason why you have to be very careful in relationships where people are infatuated. Oh, I'm in love. I'm in love. Well, what happens when the love is gone? Then so is the relationship. And then you know what enters? Indifference. Indifference is definitely one of the opposites. There are multiple things. There's fear, and what we're going to see is men walking around and becoming indifferent. Look at what's happening right now with P. Diddy. So if you already know, a singer named Cassie who never took off, she was his ex-girlfriend. They dated for a long time. Her career went nowhere. And then she said that Diddy did things to her years ago, and he basically settled the case. He did not admit any wrongdoing. And a reporter literally said, so the situation is this. Either he's guilty for the things for what she said he did, or he didn't do these things, and this is just the price of doing business. This is just the price of doing business. So now another woman has come forward and said that, oh, he did the same things to her that he did to Cass. And Diddy's like, what the heck is going on? Well, here's the funny thing. Now he's been dropped by Hulu. So Hulu drops Sean Diddy Combs' reality show after multiple allegations. Wow. Hulu has said thanks, but no thanks to a reality show that would have featured the family of Sean Diddy Combs. Deadline has confirmed the project from James Corden's production company, another jerk, was in the early stages when the decision was made to bag it after multiple lawsuits alleging various things were filed against the mega producer. On December 6th, Deadline reported the most recent allegations against Combs. He was accused of doing unsavory things and participating in gang unwanted behavior on an 11th grader, aka Jane Doe, in 2003. 20 years ago, 20 years ago. Are you kidding me? 20 years ago, y'all. 20. This is really some Cosby stuff. 20 years ago? This ain't right. This is insane. Miss Doe has lived with her memories of this fateful night for 20 years, during which time she suffered extreme emotional distress that has impacted nearly every aspect of her life and personal relationships, said the complaint filed in New York courts Wednesday by the Wingnor firm. Given the brave women who have come forward against Miss Combs and Mr. Pierre in recent weeks, they meant to say Mr. Combs, Miss Doe is doing the same. Guys, so this, I told y'all, all they will do now, this is M2 part 2. They're just going to piggyback out off one woman. So every woman who ever met him or maybe didn't even ever meet him, they're just going to start piggybacking off the stories of each other and going after these men and feeding off them, getting a piece of it. And these men have no choice but to either pay up and settle for as little as they can, or else they're going to end up losing tons in lawyer fees. And a lot of their lawyers will tell them, just settle. Just settle. It's 10 lawsuits, man. It's 10 lawsuits. Give them each $100,000 and just settle. It's 20 lawsuits. Give them each $100,000 and just settle. Bro, you're worth $800 million. It's not worth it. Just settle each and every single one of the lawsuits. Like, this is really what it's going to come down to. And these women know this. They 100% know it. And then here's where things get crazy, because the more lawsuits that come in, the more legitimacy the more it appears to be legitimate. And then once it goes from civil, that's when they can go to a criminal. That's when it can head over to criminal court, and you can have these guys ending up in jail for things that didn't actually happen. If you look at Mr. Kelly, if you look at Robert Sylvester, this dude didn't actually do anything. These women were living free at his place, being chauffeured around, taken in and out, provided for, all paid expenses. They could have left at any time. They had access to phones. They were not being denied of anything. They could have walked away. Oh, he was controlling them mentally. Bro, he was paying all of your bills. You were going on shopping sprees. You were being chauffeured to shopping, to stores, to Macy's, to go get Gucci, to get whatever you like. They were being chauffeured there. They had an assistant that was taking them around. They were living off this man. And this is his fate. This is what you get for providing for women, for helping women, for being kind to women, for giving them exactly what they want. Because the moment that money stops flowing, they're going to destroy you. Doesn't matter if it takes 10 years, 20 years, or 50 years, like what we're seeing with America's favorite dad, former favorite dad. As soon as they're broke, times are hard. And right now, times are very hard. They're all coming back. And you have these guys who are hyper successful. They had relationships with a lot of different women 20 years ago. And now all of those women are going to gang up. Women that these dudes never barely had even a conversation with. They're going to come back and say something, and there's no way that these guys can completely refute it, simply because there's it's so long ago. It's he said, she said, and you are guilty until proven innocent. So if you can't prove that you're innocent, because there's not enough evidence to refute it. Look at what happened to Jonathan Majors. You know, the driver who was there and saw everything testified that that Jonathan was actually the one who was the victim. There was surveillance cameras showing this poor man being chased down the street and running at full speed, and this woman chasing him at full speed. She was found unconscious by him like later that evening inside their home. And he called police to come and get her. And we don't know how she ended up in that state, but we know that she had a drinking problem. And if she had a drinking problem, she may have also had a problem with the use of substances. And there are a lot of dudes who are saying, oh, it's his fault. He should never have been with her. It's his fault for not, guys, you don't always know the person you're dealing with. And let's be realistic here. It's his fault that he was dealing with someone who didn't behave like a proper adult. Like we hold women to no standards whatsoever anymore. We hold them to zero standards. Like, I mean, there's a recording that she made of him where he's literally telling her, you don't come into this house intoxicated. You don't do that. You do not come in here and disrupt the peace of this home. You need to carry yourself like women. You know, he said Coretta Scott King and Michelle Obama. Me personally, I don't mess with those people, but I understand what he's trying to say. Those are people that he respects. And while I may not be a fan of Michelle Obama, I've never seen Michelle Obama throwing it back in the club. I've never seen Michelle Obama walking around scantily clad or carrying herself not like a proper lady. So regardless of how I feel about Michelle Obama, I've never seen Michelle Obama doing these things. So I understand why he would use those examples. And then he's a dude that does have a lot of influence. He has a lot of young people looking up to him. And that is true. He was the perfect person for Disney. But you know, Disney doesn't want that. They don't want clean people. They don't give a damn about their image anymore. Look at Miley Cyrus. Look at what she became. And that's the kind of person that would go back to the modern day Disney, because Disney has completely lost their values. They have no values anymore. These companies have no values anymore. Go woke, go broke. They're going broke and they don't care. You know, Bud Light, they're doubling down. They don't care. They don't care. They will go bankrupt before they change. Like, a lot of these companies will go bankrupt before they change. But what you guys are right about is that many of them are going to move their business outside of the US. And it's not just the companies. You have to understand something. What powers the US economy are not the large companies. What powers the US economy are the small companies. It's the small businesses that really make up the US economy. And who makes up most successful small businesses in the United States? Men. Men are the ones who do this. And as you guys can see on the screen, economists have finally figured out a decade-long mystery: why men are increasingly foregoing work. And it's a question that has puzzled economists for decades. Why have men been increasingly missing from the labor market since the 1960s? The answer, at least partly, is that more millennial men are going to college than baby boomers. And new research from the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco show that as these younger men graduate, they increasingly enter the workforce, and the decline in participation should slow. The share of younger millennial men not working is about twice that of the boomers at the same age, according to the report published Tuesday. But the gap closes substantially as they approach middle age. A greater share of young men today have a post-secondary degree, signaling that as they age, they'll enter the workforce. So they're hoping that they enter the workforce, but in reality, more men than ever have been dropping out of the workforce, and they're staying home. So it's like 7 million men have dropped out of the workforce. They're staying home, playing video games, sleeping, resting, not working at all. Women are surging into jobs, while for men aged 25 to 54, participation has fallen more than 8 percentage points in the past 6 decades. So researchers are hoping that these men, this is crazy, guys. They're hoping that as millennial men get older, they will later on re-enter the workforce. So they're hoping that as millennial men who are now earning their college degrees, even though they are declining in the workforce, they are expecting these men to return to the workforce in their 50s. How insane. Am I reading this wrong? Like, you guys can go and check this out. The article is titled, I can't link to articles anymore on YouTube. The article is titled, Economists Have Finally Figured Out a Decades-Long Mystery Why Men Are Increasingly Foregoing Work. They're predicting, so they're trying to say that when men enter into their 50s, when millennial men enter into their 50s, they'll rapidly re-enter the workforce. So yes, they're dropping out now and staying home and playing video games and watching TV and rest and sleeping. But they're going to go back to the workforce in their 50s. So men who are in their late 20s and early 40s right now, it's okay. It's okay, society. No one has to worry. These men are going to go back to the workforce in their 50s. Guys, we're living in a completely delusional society. Completely delusional society. Okay? Men are choosing to walk away from Western society, relationships in Western society. They're not having children. They're not getting married. They're focusing on themselves, their own happiness. They don't want to. They don't want the stress. They don't want any of it. And that's really the honest to goodness truth, guys. Men are refusing to work with women, and it's not going to shift. This thing is only going to push men further away. And guys, as men walk away from society, they're going to take their money. They're going to go overseas. Men are opening businesses overseas. Men are opening businesses in Thailand. Men are opening businesses in the Philippines. They're opening companies they're opening their companies in other countries. Guys, I have a dream to open a big manufacturing company. I have all these ideas and concepts. I have a background in computer science, psychology, health science. I have this extraordinary education, the extraordinary skill set. And my dream is to take that skill set to go to Japan and build my empire over in Japan. I want my company to be a Japanese first company, because I feel like so much of American society and Western influence is eroding Japanese culture. Like, I look at Final Fantasy, and I love Final Fantasy so much. It's a game from Japan. And now it's like it's been perverted by American garbage. It's like it's become like literally just a button masher. And I feel like so much of that influence is destroying the things that we love. And I want to build my company in Japan. And that's what's going to happen with a lot of men that are going overseas. All these guys who create these companies in America, they're going to move their business overseas. They're going to bring their insurance company overseas. They're going to bring their manufacturing company overseas. They're going to move to other countries where their cost of living is low. They will use America to finance their stuff, so they'll have access to American banks and financing options. But they won't live in America. They won't work in America. They won't hire Americans. They will hire foreigners. And they will use a combination of foreigners and artificial intelligence to run their business. And that's going to be the future. And you're going to have all these people. The LLC will be registered in America, but the company won't be in America. And it's going to suck all that money out of the US, and it's not going to be going into the pockets of American women. Because when you run your company outside of the US as well, there's a lot of ways that you can avoid having to pay a lot of those taxes. Look at Apple. Guys, what do you think regarding all of this? Because this is so profound. Let me know what you think in the comments, and we'll talk about them there. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away. And cheers.